Welcome to the podcast.
Hi everyone, and welcome back to the British Accent Podcast. I'm Emily.
And I'm Nick. Today we're going to talk about one of the most useful topics for beginners, English for daily routines.
Yes, because when you start learning English, one of the easiest ways to practice speaking naturally is by talking about your day. What time you wake up, what you do in the morning, when you go to school or work, and how your day goes from start to finish.
Exactly. Daily routines are part of everyone's life, and they use the same kinds of simple verbs, like wake up, brush, eat, go, come back, sleep. Once you learn them, you can easily talk about your schedule or even ask someone else about theirs.
That's right. For example, you can say, I wake up at 6:30 in the morning. Then, I brush my teeth and take a shower. Simple, clear, and correct. You don't need complicated grammar. Just remember to use the simple present tense when you describe your routine.
Yes, the simple present is the key here. For example, I eat breakfast at 7 o'clock, or I go to school by bus. It's all about what you usually do. These sentences describe habits or actions that happen every day.
Exactly. And when you want to sound more fluent, try connecting sentences. Instead of just saying, I wake up, I brush my teeth, I eat breakfast, you can say, I wake up, brush my teeth, and then eat breakfast. That little word then makes your English sound smoother.
That's a really good tip. You can also use after that or next. For example, I wake up at 7, and after that, I take a shower. Or, next, I go to school. These connecting words help your sentences flow naturally, just like in real conversation.
Yes, and once you arrive at school or work, you can describe what you do there. For example, I study English, or I work on my computer. If you want to add more detail, you can say, I study English every morning, or I work on my computer until lunchtime.
That's perfect. And when it's time for lunch, you can say, I have lunch with my friends, or I eat lunch in the cafeteria. Notice that in English we usually say have lunch or have dinner, not eat lunch. Though eat is still okay, have sounds more natural.
Good point. And in the afternoon, you can say things like, I come home at 4 o'clock, or I do my homework, or I watch TV. These are common and easy phrases for beginners to use.
And when it's time to relax, you might say, I listen to music, I go for a walk, or I spend time with my family. All simple but natural English phrases you can use every day.
Yes, and finally, when your day ends, you can say, I have dinner at 7, I take a shower, and I go to bed at 10. Or, if you want to sound even more fluent, I usually go to bed around 10. The word usually helps show that it's a habit.
That's right. And if you're talking about someone else's routine, like your friend or a family member, remember to add s to the verb. For example, my brother wakes up early, or she goes to work at 8. That's one small grammar rule that makes a big difference.
Yes, so simple verbs like wake up, brush, eat, go, study, come home, sleep. They're your daily life vocabulary. Once you master them, you can describe your day easily and even ask others about theirs.
Speaking of that, you can ask questions like, what time do you wake up? Or, do you go to school every day? Or, when do you have lunch? These are great for daily conversations and small talk.
Absolutely. Talking about daily routines helps you practice tenses, time expressions, and connecting phrases, all while learning vocabulary that you can actually use every day.
So, let's go step by step and practice how to describe a full day in English, from morning to night.
Let's start with the morning routine, because that's where your day begins. You can say, I wake up at 6 o'clock, or I get up early. The difference between wake up and get up is small but important. Wake up means your eyes open and you're no longer sleeping, but get up means you actually leave your bed.
That's a really good point, Emily. For example, you can say, I wake up at 6, but I get up at 6:30, meaning you stay in bed a little longer. A lot of people do that, right?
Oh yes, definitely. And after that, you can say, I brush my teeth, I wash my face, and I take a shower. These are all common verbs you'll use every morning. Try saying them together. I wake up, brush my teeth, take a shower, and get dressed.
Perfect. And once you're ready, you can say, I eat breakfast, or I have breakfast. As I mentioned earlier, both are okay, but have breakfast sounds a bit more natural in daily English. You can also say, I drink coffee, I eat eggs and toast, or I have cereal.
Yes, and after breakfast, you can say, I go to school, or I go to work. You can add transportation too. I go to school by bus, I walk to school, or I drive to work. Using by is the key when talking about transportation, by car, by train, by bus, but on foot when you walk.
Exactly. So you can say, I go to school by bus, but my friend goes by bicycle. That's a nice example that shows both a routine and the small grammar change when talking about someone else, goes with S.
Right. Once you arrive at school or work, you can talk about what you do there. For example, I study English, I read books, I do homework, or I write emails. These are short but very natural sentences.
You can even combine them to sound more fluent. At school, I study English, talk with my friends, and have lunch at noon. Or, at work, I answer emails, have meetings, and finish projects. Connecting actions helps your English flow better.
Absolutely. And when lunchtime comes, you can say, I have lunch at 12 o'clock, or I eat lunch with my coworkers. Some people might also say, I take a lunch break, meaning they stop working for a short time to eat.
Yes, and after lunch, we usually continue with, I go back to class, or I continue working. You can also describe how you feel. I feel sleepy after lunch, or I feel more energetic in the afternoon. These simple expressions make your English sound more natural.
Then, when your school or work day ends, you can say, I finish school at 4 p.m., or I go home at 5. You can also say, I get home, which is another very natural phrase. For example, I get home at 6 o'clock.
Exactly. And when you're back home, you can describe your evening activities. I do my homework, I watch TV, I cook dinner, or I play games. You can add usually or sometimes to make it sound more realistic. For example, I usually watch TV after dinner, or sometimes I read a book before bed.
Yes, using time words like usually, sometimes, always, or never helps you describe how often you do something. So you can say, I always take a shower before bed, or I never stay up late. These are small but powerful words that make your English more expressive.
And when it's time to end the day, you can say, I take a shower, I relax, or I go to bed at 10. If you want to sound more natural, say, I usually go to bed around 10. It shows that your bedtime is not exact, but close to that time.
Yes, and if you want to describe your entire day, you can connect everything in one flow. I wake up at 6, get ready for school, study until noon, have lunch, come home in the afternoon, and relax in the evening. That's a perfect summary of a daily routine.
That's great practice, and you can change it based on your lifestyle. For example, if you're a student, talk about school. If you work, describe your job. The structure stays the same, only the details change.
Exactly, and the more you repeat it, the easier it becomes to speak fluently. Because daily routines are repetitive in real life, they're also perfect for learning how to think in English naturally.
I love that. It's not just about memorizing words, it's about describing your life in English. That's how you start feeling confident using the language every single day.
So, let's move on to some natural examples of how you can use daily routine sentences in real conversation.
That's right. Talking about your daily routine is one of the most useful things you can practice in English because you use it all the time. At school, at work, when meeting new people, or even when writing about yourself. And the more you repeat these phrases, the more natural they'll sound.
Exactly. Don't worry about sounding perfect. Focus on fluency first. The key is consistency. Practicing a few minutes every day, maybe by saying your routine out loud while you actually do it. For example, say, I'm brushing my teeth, or I'm eating breakfast. You'll start to think in English faster that way.
That's a great tip, Emily. And if you want, you can also record yourself speaking. Listening back will help you hear how you sound and notice where you can improve pronunciation or rhythm.
Yes, that's true. Learning English doesn't have to feel like studying all the time. It can be part of your daily life. The more you speak about your everyday actions, the easier it becomes to build confidence.
So, take what we talked about today and try to describe your day in English, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. You'll be surprised at how much progress you make in just a few weeks.
Thank you for joining us today on the British Accent Podcast. We hope this episode helps you use English more naturally in your daily life.
Don't forget to follow and share this podcast with your friends who are learning English too.
Keep practicing, stay confident, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Take care, everyone.
Bye for now.